Okay, so today we will be covering two different techniques of white box testing. So, so today we will basically now we will talk about the basic path testing, right? Although these are like having different terminologies, these are not what we call so many difficult testing mechanism, right? So usually you can have some sort of understanding with the name of each and every testing mechanism, right? So in here we are talking about how we going to do the testing for your software's basic parts, right? So we will be, yeah. So this basic part testing is a white box testing method, and that is introduced by McCabe in 1980s. And so if you can recall the first set of slides of the white box software testing. So in there we have basically talk about path testing and the branch testing. So in this basic path testing, it's some sort of combined or the hybrid approach of this path testing and branch testing, right? So yeah, so usually before we are starting this basic path testing, so we have to calculate cyclomatic complexity, and we have from that this cyclomatic complexity we can obtain the what are the possible paths, right? We can actually get the count of the possible path, right? So based on that understanding, we can do the basic path testing, right? So in if we talk about the approach or the steps of the basic path testing, so as the first step, we will first we will draw the control flow graph, right? So you have to refresh your mind with the graph theory related things, right? And so once you develop the graph, flow graph, then you can calculate the cyclomatic complexity. Then we can find the basis set of parts, and according to those parts, we can generate our test cases. So for today's this session, we will be basically talking about this particular simple program, right? So you have if equals, so if A equals 50, then if B is greater than C, then A equals B, else A equals C, end if print A, right? So you can see we have actually one if statement, and then we have else, and then we have printing A, right? So if I try to draw this particular graph, control flow graph for this particular program, right? So it would be something like this. So the first statement, if A equals 50 is here. So if this is satisfying, right? So we can go to B greater than C. So it's here. And if this is true, right? So in here we are having true, right? So This one is correct, right? We have done, and then if this is satisfying, then A equals B. So this is it, right? And then if there is a if, we have also true and false parts, right? So if we go to the false part, right, it means is this one, else part. So it is here. And then our this particular if is this if is ending here, right? So that is this. Then we have another ending, so that is this main if, right? So this would be our false. Then we have the seventh state. So this is how we simply develop the control flow graph. It's a some sort of actually it's a sort of flow chart. But the thing is, flow chart there we are using different symbols instead of that. Here we are illustrating the entire program using nodes and edges, right? So, and as a step 2, we are going to calculate the cyclomatic complexity, right? So the cyclomatic complexity is developed by the same person, McCabe, but it was invented in developed in the 1976, right? So usually there is like a common property of this cyclomatic complexity. So if your cyclomatic complexity is getting large number, it implies that your code is more complex, right? So let's talk about the properties of cyclomatic complexity, right? So VG is a sort of notation, right? G representing the graph. It's the highest number of independent paths shown in the graph, right? So usually this path count is greater than or equal to 1. It means if you are asked to calculate cyclomatic complexity for a control flow graph, right? That particular control flow graph at least will have 1 or greater than 1 times path. So if Vg is equal to 1, then the graph will have 1 path, right? Ideally, minimize the complexity score to 10. The higher the score, the more complex the code, right? So cyclomatic complexity is giving you the number of parts of your program or your program graph, right? So if it is more than if it is getting bigger number, right, it implies that your code is having so many different parts for conclusions, right, ends. So in that case, your code is more complex, right? I think Kihara, in your case, right? So when you are like developing some sort of blockchain related thing, so in that case, you might have so many parts, right? So you can like when you develop your own code, so you can see how many parts are available, right? So if we talk about the equation for this calculation cyclomatic complexity, right? So Vg equals E minus N plus 2P. So the E representing edges, N representing nodes, P is the number of predicate nodes. It means conditions. If else, those kind of nodes which is having decision points or the condition points, right? So if we talk about our example, so this is our program, this is our control program, right? So these are nodes and these are edges. The connecting 1 and 2 nodes are edges. 2 and 3 nodes are connecting, so this is our edge, right? So if we calculate our total edges, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 here. And since our program is containing 7 statements, so we have 7 nodes. And then we have one decision, one predicate node or the condition node, right? So if we apply these values to this particular formula, so we can get 3. So if I show you, right? So I have got the 3, right? So if let's assume purple is first part, right? So whatever from not this statement to this statement, I can control my data flow in 3 different parts. So that is what is this cyclomatic complexity means. So 1, 6, 7 will be my first part. 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 will be my second part. My third part will be 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? So other than that, I don't have any parts. Right? That is meant by this cyclomatic complexity. Right? So you have calculate the cyclomatic complexity and get the value as 3. So it means you have to be at least, you have to test at least 3 parts, 3 basic parts, right? So how are we going to find the passing nodes of or the passing items of each and every part, right? So I have shown you how we get the parts, right? So in that case, so if I go 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, so it will be my one part. Likewise, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 1, 6, 7 will be my other parts. So these are the basic sets of parts. It means basically what are the nodes that I am passing when I am going to starting point to ending point. So this is the basic set of parts. These are very easy, right? Without knowing you are doing these what we call graph really theory related calculation for the testing or the whatever operation, you have done those things, right? The only thing is you are learning those things with a technical terms. And as the 4th step, so we have understood that we have 3 parts and we know what are the nodes that we are going to pass from each part. Then we can develop at least one test case to cover each path. So in that case, we can have 3 different test cases, right? So if I like show you, right? So the first if we take this path 3 in here, right? It's 1, 6, 7. So 1 is representing A equals 50. And we know this is our false path, right? So then we are having 6. It means this one ending 7. So in order to go create a test case or generate the output of your program by following this particular path. So what you have to do is you have to input a value for A, and that should not be equal to 50. Only if it's equal to 50, it goes to true path, right? So instead of that, we have to enter whatever value that is creating this first statement false. In that case, we can take some value, something like A equals 40. So in that case, if your first test case, right? In your first case, if your A equals 40, so it will follow this particular path. So that's how we basically write the test cases. So if I take, let's take first part, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. This one. Right? So in that case, I am passing this line, this line, this line, this, and this. Right? So in that case, I can see I have to think of whatever value to A, it's here, right? Then B and C. Right? So let's try to find what are the possible values for our second test case, which is following first path. So in that case, so this is like in order to go to second statement from first statement, this particular condition should be true. So in that case, I can take the value for A as 50 because the condition says itself A should be equal to 50 in order to become true. So then my A will be 50. Then I am now complete this one. This node I have passed. Then I am in the if B is greater than C. Right? So I have to input whatever value to B and C. Right? Before thinking what are the values that I am going to input, so you have to check this one because in here you can see it's a if. It means it have both true and false. And in this part 1, right? From second statement, it's going to third statement. It means it's following the true side. Right? So in that case, in order to go to this particular statement, this particular condition, if B is greater than C, should be true. It means whatever value I am giving to B should be greater than the value with 3. So if I can like do something 49, and we can say something value for C as 10. So in that case, this condition is through, then it goes to this particular statement. So this is how you develop your test case, right? So once you have find the path, you go to the, so you know these notes representing one particular statement of your program, right? So in that case, you can easily find what are the variables that I have to consider, and based on the given conditions, you can come up with values, right? So the advantage of doing this basic path test is nothing but, right? So when it comes to a very like industrial level program, right? We can have more than 10 paths, right? In order to go to start to end of your program. So in that case, right? So let's assume we have like 50, right? So in that case, rather than testing 150 times of my code, right? I can, if I do this basic path testing, so your entire program is covering, right? Entire statements are covered, right? So that's why we are telling this basic path testing is a combination of path testing plus branch testing, right? So in that case, you can see when it goes to the path testing is simply saying that yours each and every path should be covered. When it comes to the branch testing, it means each and every branch should be covered. So in here, both are satisfied, right? In that case, by minimum value of test cases, that is focusing on the entire flow of your what we call flow path of your computer program, you can do the minimum level of testing, right? So in that case, it will help to reduce the duplicated test. And then in some cases, if your computer program is having some sort of logical error, we can track those things, right? So you have given this is our program, right? And but the developer had incorrectly entered this B is greater than C condition, right? But you are focusing on your given flowchart or the sketch, pseudocode or whatever program, not the real implementation. But at the end of the day, you are going to test that particular real world, real implementation. But the logic is, let's assume logic is incorrectly implemented by the developer. So in that case, you are having the correct scenario, and when you try to input the data and get the desired execution of desired path, that is won't happening. So in that case, you can find the errors, program logic errors, right? So this is all about the basic path testing, right? So in here, what you have to understand is, right? You should be able to develop a very simple control flow graph, right? So if you are good with flow charts, so it's not a very big deal, right? And then you have to able to calculate the cyclomatic complexity. So once you can calculate it, so you can find the path of your program, right? So based on that, I have created very simple assignment, right? So you have so far we have covered 3 lessons under the white box testing. So you can go to those slide set and can use whatever theoretical or practical implementations of those things, right? So you will have to very simple scenario, and based on that you have to develop a very simple graph and cyclomatic complexity, calculate cyclomatic complexity and do the basic part testing, right? So if I show you the assignment, right? So so you are having a very simple PHP code, right? So although you don't know about this PHP, don't worry, you can, like, when you go through, so you can find this is if, this is else, and we have different statement here, and again we have a if, right? So that why this graph related testing is really easy, right? You can understand what are the statements and what are the if else, how each and every programming language is defined these if else loops and loops, so you can develop your graph, right? So then we have another if here. These are simple statements, right? So actually we have one if here, and second if is this one, and inside of else again you have a if, right? So in that case, so first thing is you have to develop a flow chart for given code, right? So once you have developed this particular flow chart, right, you have to refer the 6 slide set, and you can do this statement testing, decision testing, condition testing, etc. And then, right, so for question 1 you have developed your flow chart, right? So based on that flow chart you can develop your graph for above code, and then you can have you can identify the nodes and edges. So by understanding nodes and edges, you can simply calculate the cyclomatic complexity, and you have to find the all possible test paths, right? So this is the your first first assignment, right? This will be the only bigger submission. Later the other assignments are very simple one, right? Okay, so do you have any questions? I think both of you have enrolled and have a look with your Coursera course, right?
Yes, Miss, we should start. when we should start that?
So surely, so the next week we will complete this whiteboard testing. Yeah, you can start in the first week of October. I think since it is 4-week course, right? So you can use entire what we call October month, and then I think we have another 2 weeks in November, right?
Yes, miss.
Okay. So in that 2 weeks, right? We will do a cover up session, and yeah, we can do a cover up session, and if we can have a like chance, we can do the what we call model paper, the discusses your past paper, right? Last batch paper, right? So yeah, that's it. And anyway, uh, in the Coursera content, there will be like few theoretical things that you have discussed in previous software quality module. Test levels, how to write a test case, and then defect management, those things. Anyway, I will share the relevant material, but you can, if you want, you can refer those things, right? Anyway, when you do that Coursera course, these will be covered, right? So that I have like, I'm not doing the same thing again. It's because like you are, in those contents are available in the Coursera content, right? So yeah, so you will be free for entire October month, and anyway, I will call you both and get the updates, and I can see how your progress is going, right? So take it serious and do it. It's because like university is paying around $400 for you, right? For both of you, and you can get a free certificate, right? Internationally verified certificate you can get, right? So that would be a like great opportunity for you. Unlike other students who are not doing this particular course, they are not having a chance to get those kind of certificate. Anyway, like, and then in that particular content, you will be get familiar with software automation and those kind of really industrial needed uh, theories and practicals, right? So take it as like your final year project, right? And do it. The ultimate benefit will be for you. And also, I will take 4 quizzes of the Coursera content, right? So then only I'm like then I can finalize your continuous assignment marks also, right? So the assignments, the Coursera assignments that I am willing to take, right, will be one from each 4 lessons. And anyway, I will take the most like the highest grade assignment. So in that case, you can like you have some sort of chance, right? Okay, so